big cookies.
Jeez, man.
It's ridiculous.
Fun stuff.
It took us 15 different 3D renderings to finally find the perfect option for our client. So here is a look at all 15 different renderings that we did for our client. Most of them are all in walnut, but quite a variety of layouts that you see here. So I'm actually curious. Let us know what you guys would have picked if you were the client out of these 15 options. The slabs that they finally ended up deciding on came from a large order we purchased from GL Veneer. So at the beginning of this video, you saw a very impressive warehouse full of slabs that GL had, and that was part of an air-dried batch of material that had not yet been in a kiln. So we purchased it sight unseen, all as one load, and there was some absolutely incredible material in there, and these Bastogne walnut cookies were some of them that our client ended up loving. So to begin the process, it starts off pretty normally. Once we've got them completely flattened, then we just use a chisel and a wire wheel, number one, to remove any of the larger chunks of bark, but then the wire wheel is just to remove that thin cambium layer that's on the outside and any of the decayed, softer sections. So because there was so many different renderings we did, it was quite critical we got everything perfect. So to remind you guys, here is the final rendering that our client landed on, and the guys are going to carefully cut these pieces up to make sure everything is absolutely perfect.
We'll go this side down.
Might make a difference. Is it I-core?
Yeah. Because the tops are 100%. That's how it now. The bottoms are only 90. Alright, I'm gonna grab it. I think I follow him on. That goes in this corner. This goes like this. This is kind of fun.
It's not fun. In the drawing, it's kind of like here.
Okay. So this go like that. Let's see. Oh no, it fits. I made it fit.
Okay.
I just had to like tilt it in. Yeah, they're like basically touching. I think it would be way funnier is if instead of being like, oh, we're being really serious and adding pigment, we're just like, it's glitter time. That's just how it is. It'd be kind of funny though.
This client ended up going with our Manganello blue. So this color really took off in popularity once Joe Manganello commissioned us to build him a table using this color. And lots of our clients who now reach out for commissions, they reference it as Manganello blue. So we followed suit. That's what we call it here in our shop. And it is still one of the most popular colors that we do to this day. We're also doing it in the base layer style. So we do this about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick base layer, and then we'll come along and pour the clear top layer. But as I mentioned in a previous video, we did have one of our hard drives get some files corrupted. So we did end up missing the top layer. So we're gonna skip forward, pretend that you guys watched us pour that top layer, and we'll resume after that resin's cured and we're working on finishing up the rest of this table. So now that the resin's cured, we can get the piece lifted downstairs. We've already CNC flattened it, and now we're just pushing it through our drum sander so that we can save ourselves a little bit of labor when it comes to the final sanding process for this table. Now, on this piece, because it is end grain, it's a little more porous, meaning that there's probably going to be some more voids that we have to fill. So it's going to be, again, quite labor intensive. I mean, I feel like I say that for just about every table that we do, but we're going to have to take special care to make sure we get all of them on this table. We're using our track saw to cut this piece down to final size, and I probably sound like a broken record, but I would highly recommend, if you're doing this, to make your cuts in multiple passes. Sometimes you chance it and you think, oh, it's just a small cut, I can do this in one shot, but you're probably going to end up burning your piece and then having to end up cut it a little bit smaller than you originally anticipated for. So this client is going for an X base, but it's not one of our wooden X bases. It's actually a steel X base that we're going to have manufactured by our friends at Forge 53, but we're still going to do a recessed pocket on the underside of this table that's going to accept the top plate that will mount it to the underside of the piece. One nice thing about pouring a base layer when it comes to doing your pockets is that you don't have to plan your pockets around the resin, because even though we're cutting into the resin here, our base layer is opaque enough and thick enough that we're not going to see that plate through this cut that we're making. We can move on to the fills for this table. So this is something that we usually do in multiple steps. You have your first initial pour that you do with the deep resin that we flood, and that will take care of a good chunk of the fills. Then after surfacing, usually a whole bunch more are opened up, and at that point we'll use our Black Forest Coat thin resin. It's a 24-hour cure resin, and it can get those medium-sized voids. Then we move on to our 5-minute epoxy to take care of even the smaller voids that are still left. And here's a new product that we do after that that we've been trying recently. So it's a UV cure resin, kind of similar actually to what they use in nails. One of the guys who works for us got that idea from his girlfriend getting her nails done and watching it cure with the UV light. So we thought, there's got to be something for tables, and it kind of looks like there might be. Once our many stages of fills are done, we can then move on to the final sanding process and take this piece up to 320 grit before we apply the finish. Now, we do get asked sometimes, why don't we go higher, like all the way up to 4,000 grit? And you absolutely could, but the reason we don't is to maintain durability. The higher you sand, the less finish that's going to be able to penetrate into the pores of the wood, and the less scratch resistant it's going to be. So we find 320 to be that happy medium where you can still get a nice, shiny, and somewhat clear finish, but you don't sacrifice the actual durability and usability of your table. This client opted for the 2-component acrylic urethane finish on their tabletop. The reason that our clients go this route is for maximum durability. The only downside to this finish is that it does form a bit more of a layer or buildup over the entire surface, so you're not really feeling the wood, and you're maybe not seeing into the resin quite as much as the oil finish. But it is going to give you way more durability than the oil. With the oil, you should use coasters. You don't want to put anything rough on the surface and drag it around. But with a cured polyurethane finish, you really have to try and damage it to do anything bad on that. So that's what's really nice for our clients, especially if they have a family. They can just use this piece and they don't have to stress about anything. Once we've got the table back from spray finishing, we add 2 coats of our Black Forest ceramic coating just to add an additional layer of durability, but it's also going to bring out some more color and clarity in the piece. Here's that steel base that I mentioned earlier from our friends at Forge. So technically it's not the exact same as our X base, but it's 2 longer X's joined in the middle and then splayed out at a little bit of an angle. Now we've got the base positioned downstairs in front of the sunlight, and we can get this tabletop lifted on with Randy underneath just to line us up for the plates and all of our threaded insert holes.
I'm sorry. Go back this way. Yeah, should be like this. Come on up here. All right, go down, guys. Keep going. All right, come down. All right, you guys are in.
To recap, this tabletop is constructed using cookies of Bastogne walnut, and our client has paired it with a midnight blue or manganello blue base layer with a clear top layer. We then sanded everything up to 320 grit. We sealed all the cracks using our Black Forest Coat Thin Resin, our Quick Fix epoxy, and some CA glue. And then everything was finished using a sprayed acrylic urethane and 2 coats of our Black Forest ceramic. Please let us know your thoughts on this piece in the comments below, and go back and take a look at those other 14 renderings we did for the client and see if you think our client made the right decision in picking this option.